Welcome back to another video. This is Techno Traveler. Today we're going to be using ChatGPT to help us code some visuals. What I have pulled up in front of me right now is Hydra, the Hydra synth that I've been using as of late. And this code here was not generated by me. It's one of the presets. When you hit this scramble arrow, I don't know what to call it. When you click on that, and then it creates different, I forget what they call these. I forgot what these are called. Sketches. That's what it is. These are called sketches that are within the Hydra system already. And so as you can see in the top left, Alexander Rangel, Eye of the Beholder. Very cool. So if you just go through here and click, it will give you some different presets. Right? So these are all sketches that you can use, and you can learn the sample code, or you can use the example as a sample to learn more about this specific coding. Let's go back to chat. Let's move over to ChatGPT here for a second. I have ChatGPT 4. I'm paying for Plus. And what I'd like to do is switch over to the code interpreter mode here. And so I haven't done this before, so let's just jump right in and see what we can come up with and how we can collaborate with ChatGPT to create some visuals. So first of all, let's give it some context. I'd like you to help me code GLSL, or let's see if it can understand. Let's see if ChatGPT can understand what language to use if we're going to be creating visuals in Hydra. Help me code visuals for the Hydra environment. Let's see, the Hydra object environment. Do you already know what type of code to use for this? I'm familiar with Hydra by Olivia Jack. Hydra is a platform for live coding visuals. A GLSL shaders. Yep. It uses a combination of JavaScript and GLSL. Wow. Can't speak today. Shaders for creating the visuals. Great. So it asked me some questions here. Are there any specific colors or patterns you want to use? Let's just go down. What I like to do with ChatGPT is, if it asks questions, just to go down the list and actually number them. So 1, do you have a specific theme or concept in mind? A white circle. Let me see. A circle made in the style of pointillism that seems to breathe. Let's see if it understands that concept. 2, are there any specific colors or patterns you want to use? Colors, white dots on a black background. I like the really minimalistic stuff, being techno-oriented and whatnot. Patterns you want to use. White dots on a black background. Patterns with a white line border. White line around the circumference of the circle. Yeah. 3, how should the visuals react to audio, if at all? Ooh, that would be great. That would be you don't even have to I don't have to, it understands what its own questions are, so I don't have to say, I want the audio to react in such a such way, right? For number 3, I can just say, because it already asks number 3, how should visuals react to audio? I don't even have to say that. So this visual should react by bouncing, not bouncing, expanding when audio comes through. Let's see what happens there. Do you have a preference for 2D or 3D visuals? 3D? I don't know what would happen there. Let's see what happens. Yep. Okay, while Hydra doesn't inherently support 3D, we can mimic 3D effects using 2D transformations and depth cues. Let's start with the first 2 requirements. Create a pointillism style circle. Pointillism in a digital context, random position dots, yep. Add a white line around the circumference. Okay, so it's working. It did those 2 things. It even gives some explanations here. Initialize Hydra. I don't know how necessary that is. Define a circle using a sine wave oscillator. Yep. Okay, oscillator. And creates the parameters within that oscillator. This will create the circle shape. All right. Mask shape is 100. So 100, defining the shape as 100 within the mask will mask a circle, right? Layer another circle to create a circumference line. That makes sense. Shape 100, 0.01. I don't know these. I don't understand the numbers or anything like that. I've mentioned this in other videos. I don't really understand. I'm just trying to understand as I read this. Okay, this code will create a basic circle with a white circumference. Next, we'll need to add the pointillism effect, make the circle breathe, apply some 3D-like transformations to give a feeling of depth. So first of all, let's copy this code. I'm going to Control Tab and switch over to this. So let's go Control or Apple A. I'm going to paste in the code that ChatGPT gave me. Control Shift Enter. Is anything happening? No, I don't. Let's remove some of this stuff because I don't know. What about that? Is that going to do anything? Interesting. It didn't really change anything. I'm hitting Control Shift Enter, which should trigger the visual. It's not changing much. What's happening here? This doesn't seem to be reacting. Let's refresh it. Now it reset. Very cool sketch. Rodrigo Velasco. This is dope. All right, let's just copy and paste the code from previously. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. That's the little thing it did? Oh man, okay. Well, maybe that's the smallest point. Maybe that's the smallest point at which the circle starts, right? Maybe it'll get bigger. Let's Control Tab back to ChatGPT. Would you like assistance with each of these steps? It asks, and I'm going to say yes. It seems my browser is lagging a bit. Okay, pointillism effect. To simulate pointillism, we need to scatter points within the boundaries of our circle. The noise function in Hydra can help achieve a grainy texture. Yes, it can. By layering this with our circle, we can achieve a pointillism effect. We'll see. We can modulate the scale of the circle based on the audio input. By using the modulate scale function, we can use audio levels to cause the circle to expand and contract. I guess I'll believe you. I've never hooked up audio into Hydra, but I know it can be done. And then the 3D like effect, pseudo 3D effect by using rotations and translations. The rotate and scroll functions can be helpful here. I don't really know how much the scrolling functions are going to help with a 3D effect, but sure. It finished the work here, so this is still pseudocode and a representation. It will need to be adapted and tested in the Hydra environment. Here's an enhanced representation for the Hydra environment. Combining these ideas, the code might look something like the following. Okay, great. You need to run this actual. So let's new Hydra. Did it? Noise mask. It masked it. Created a second oscillator. Oh, so it just replaced the previous code. So I can delete this code here. So let's copy this. Go back over. Control All. And let's hit Control Shift Enter. I don't, right? Nothing really changed. What about, circle is slightly rotated over time. Adjust the time multiplier to change rotation speed. Slow rotation. I don't even see, right? There's no indication that this is even working how I want it to. What about 100 noise? There's something going on here, right? So I would assume maybe in the mask. Oh, this is not going well. I just cranking everything up, trying to see if there's, it's nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. Let's go back. I tried this code and the circle is static. Change it so that it self oscillates rather than depends on audio input. Let's see how it changes it now. Lots of explanations I don't really understand. It's working. All right. So I tried this. I tried a few things here. First of all, I'm changing the color and it's not even do anything for the color. So I'm a bit confused as to what this code is actually doing, where I am making a mistake. Let's copy this code, paste it in. All of these examples, there's so much explanation, so many explanations here, right? Like how to create the pointillism and the circle shape. None of it actually even is doing anything. Before you say that it's ChatGPT that doesn't work, one thing that I've learned, especially learning just the text input side of ChatGPT, is that when people don't know how to use something, they'll say that the thing that they're using doesn't work. So I'm not going to say that this doesn't work. I'm going to say that I don't know how to use it. Let's change tactics here. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take some sample code from visuals that I like from the sketches that are shown on the homepage here of Hydra, and I will attempt to combine the best elements and then modify them from there. So let's forget what we've talked about. All right, forget what we've talked about before. Instead, I'm going to give you snippets of code I found online, and together, you and I will attempt to combine my favorite aspects of each into new visuals. And hit enter on that, see how it responds. Of course, here to help. It always says that, right? Very interesting. So I think there's just a problem with the way that my browser is reacting, because even as I hit the the next show random sketch feature, it's not changing. It should automatically change. So let me just copy this code instead. And I'm going to refresh this page. Apologies for the randomness here. Yeah, there's still something's going on. One more try here before I just blindly move on. It went back to that, so maybe that's what that code does. All right, let's figure this out. This is cool. Not exactly anything that I'm looking for. Let me see here. This is interesting. Puertas dos, Doors 2 by Celeste Betancourt. I don't know how to say that. Sample 1. Sample 2. Let's pick another one out. Oh, this is cool. Okay. Like that. That one's by Olivia Jack, it seems. Yes. One more. Maybe. This is cool. Oh, I like this, like, echo repeat. I see a repeat right there. So this is like a repeat effect. I like that. So let's say instructions. Give me 5 examples, or give me 3 examples of ways I can combine each of these 3 samples I gave you. Let's see what it comes up with. So it does understand, it seems to understand, right, how to describe in words the code, what the code is doing. So from sample 1, we'll use the kaleidoscopic effect with rotation and layering. Sample 2, we'll use the pattern and scrolling effect. I don't know what that means. From sample 3, we'll use the shape addition and time-dependent scaling. Cool. That sounds close to what I'm looking for. Let's see. Combination 2, we'll use the mask and layering effects. That's interesting because then we can change the shape of the mask to fit, the circle or other shapes. We'll use a kaleidoscopic pattern. Sure, that'll be interesting. And then rotating shape and the time-based modulation. Yeah, actually, I'm liking combination 2 better than 1. We'll use the modulate rotate effects. We'll employ the scrolling effect. We'll leverage the shape addition and rotation. Let's look at the combination number 2 first. Yeah. Whoa. Coparzi, that's super cool. All right, let's try this one. Oh, interesting. That's all right. Something we can do, something that Hydra has built in. Oh, I like that. Something Hydra has built in is the randomize function. So it will take a certain portion of the items. I don't even know what to call these. The parameters you have, and it'll randomize them. So let's randomize it a bit further. So now the background pattern is going a bit faster. Let's just, whoa. All right, let's keep randomizing this so it's not so... Oh, maybe we'll find something that we like. I definitely want to slow down. Where can we slow this down? Oscillator, pattern 2, mask, shape. Let's try this. What does that do? There we go. It was set to 134.004. I set it to 1.34. Just slow down. Ah, okay. So maybe, what about that? That's interesting. Modulate, let's do a negative there. Modulate, rotate shape. It's creating some, it was creating some indentations. Rotate, time. I see, it's going over time. Time is like a generic, I guess, function in here. Mask shape. Shape is 3. Okay. So there's that. Let me just open up another instance of Hydra so we can kind of keep that other one in the background. So that was number 2, right? So let's go over here and replace this. Whoa. Is this really the combination number 1 that it came up with? How cool. Whoa. Oh, this one's mouse reactive. There's so many great sketches in here already. Yeah, so this is kind of like this is the thing that I don't understand about whether it's my browser or Hydra itself, but I just pasted in the same code as before, and for some reason the visual looks much different. That's insane. The visual looks much different than it did the first time around. I don't know why that is. So like, for example, I'm going to show a random sketch. Another Alexander Rangel, Egg of the Phoenix. Man, some really cool ones. So I'm going to paste in my other code, Control Shift Enter. It does seem to like take inspiration from whichever piece I'm on, or maybe I'm just not understanding. It did go back to the same pattern again. Okay, so it is working quite well. Great. Okay. So there's that one. One more instance of Hydra. Oop. One more instance of Hydra, and let's take this third combination, copy the code, and paste it in. I'm like speechless. I'm always so confused. It's so funny. The code I thought was going to be most interesting, like reading the description, is actually what I ended up liking the least. And the ones that I'm least interested in are the ones that I find most interesting right now. I'm going to shuffle this one more time and paste in the code that ChatGPT gave. I'm just doing it just to make sure that I'm seeing, I'm just getting a feel for what the code is, because I just don't know what it's doing. So by shuffling it, changing to a random snippet, and then pasting in the code, it gives me the opportunity to see how like things reset visually, and then that's, at least intuitively, that's how I kind of am able to understand what the code is doing, because it makes things like more jarring and obvious, whereas starting from scratch, I think sometimes I get a bit lost. Okay, so we have this black and white code here. It just fades in and out. Of course, I randomized it a few times. I do like that, actually. I think that the rotation is a bit fast. Let's see, can I divide? Well, I came across this random video about how dividing takes up a lot more computational power than just multiplying. So I'm going to multiply time by 0.5. So that way we get half time. What about 2.5? Oh, interesting. So we get the time is modulating this shape here, but not the oscillations up here. So I want to slow that down. Will this do anything? Kaleidoscope. Let's try. Interesting. Okay. Okay, now it's too fast again. Let's go 2.9. What I'm looking at this, and what I'm trying to imagine is if this were a dark warehouse and this was like I'm at a rave, what's too fast? What is too jarring of like a strobing effect? I don't like strobes at shows. I don't like when the screen stutters or strobes too much. It tires me visually. I don't really even think it's like that cool of an effect. I know some people just love their strobe lights and things like that. I don't enjoy it. It makes me nauseous for multiple reasons. But I do like this. It stays dark just enough to where if I were at an event and this were playing and there were lights, actual physical lights pointing out and moving, pointing into the crowd, I think that this would be an enjoyable rate of speed to experience this with. Let me just move some other things around real quick. It's rotating at a certain speed. So there's like it's splitting somehow. I do like how it's doing that. Okay, so we got some results from it. Wow. And now this pattern is moving as well as bouncing up and down. So, it's not the craziest thing in the world. It's not like super amazing, but I do quite like the suggestions that ChatGPT has given. I think it's a great starting off point. The fact that a lot of the coding, the fact that ChatGPT gives you explanations for what it's doing, as I think it over time with enough pattern recognition, no pun intended, with enough pattern recognition, like looking at code will, I think, help educate me over time and kind of give me some sort of basis from which to understand Hydra itself. Try things out on your own. Let me know how it goes. I mean, this video, there's definitely some work that needs to be done on these to make them more interesting, but as a starting point, there's some great ideas. And that's what I love about ChatGPT, that ChatGPT gives you somebody to have a conversation with. And you can just kind of start off conversations just with little snippets of things here and there, and it gives you a starting off point. So the biggest hurdle that most creatives encounter, most people in general, are, writers call it like staring at a blank page. A lot of people freeze up. They don't know how to start. And you don't have to figure out how to start anymore. There's a lot of inspiration. I don't want to get too deep into this video into like the human design, and there's actually something called human design, and essentially it breaks down personality types. There are people who are initiators essentially, and a lot of people wait for things to be asked of them before they do something, before they take action. They wait to be reactive. Well, I think that ChatGPT is a great way to have those conversations just to kind of get some creative juices flowing. So I hope you learned something. I hope this was helpful. I know that I learned quite a bit here in terms of the functionality and the way that you can talk to ChatGPT, even through the code interpreter mode. You can still have these conversations of just plain text questions and explanations. So it's been very helpful. We didn't. One of the goals that I had for this was getting the pointillism effect, and that did not happen in any of the examples. Making a circle with an outline did not happen, and some 3D like transformations to give a feeling of depth. I would say that it was a fail in terms of what I was expecting for these 3 goals, but did we end up with something interesting? I would say so. Jumping off point. So quite a long video to end up with almost nothing, so a bit anticlimactic, but try it out for yourself and let me know how it goes. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.